Cheese. It's a dairy product consumed by people across every country in the world. But our story starts inside London's oldest and most beloved food market. Nestled in the shadow of the London Bridge stands the Borough Market. Here, you can sip artisan gin beside a stall selling Turkish delights. Or you could bite into a perfectly seared Scotch beef sandwich while someone next to you debates the merits of Sicilian blood oranges. Beneath the Victorian arches of Southwark, its iron framework echoes with centuries of trade. Sunlight filters through the glass roof, landing in shifting patterns on piles of fresh produce. The sounds layer on top of each other, knives tapping against wooden boards, the low murmur of tourists and locals weaving between the stalls. You'll hear the occasional clang of a pan, the whoosh of a coffee machine. The air is alive with competing scents: truffles, chorizo, warm sourdough, and, of course, sharp British cheeses. It's chaotic but curated, traditional but constantly evolving. A living snapshot of London's diverse food culture, framed by its historic architecture. So picture this. It's a Monday morning in October 2024. Clear skies over London. The kind of crisp air that makes the city feel just a little bit sharper than usual. The rhythm of clinking crates and early risers echoes between the columns. Stalls are setting up. The sourdough is still warm. But behind the scenes at Neal's Yard Dairy, something else is unfolding. The air buzzes with anticipation. The shipment that day isn't just any shipment. It's a shipment unlike anything the staff has handled before. It is 950 wheels of rare artisan cheese, an award-winning mix of Hafid, Westcombe, and Pitchfork cheddars, all hand-wrapped in cloth, destined for a major French retailer. We're talking 22 tons of cheese, worth over 300,000 pounds. That's roughly $500,000 US. So the staff inspects each wheel, marks the batch numbers, and ensures everything is chilled to spec. The temperature-controlled van, which has arrived precisely on time, waits just outside. It looks legit. The paperwork, seemingly valid. The driver, he's friendly, if not quiet. No one suspects a thing. And as the wheels are stacked, lifted onto pallets, there is pride in the air. A deal this size could support British cheesemakers for months. And farmers have already been notified. The photos are snapped and hands are shaken. The last crate is loaded. The back doors are sealed shut and the engine turns over.
We were so ecstatic. For us, we don't get orders that size very often, like never.
This is Ben Tricehurst, one of the cheesemakers.
And it's from one of our best customers, and they checked everything out, and we got asked really sensible questions. So we're like, yeah, this is great.
Ben makes Pitchfork Cheddar at Trethewin Brothers Farm, one of the 3 dairies that produced this order of cheese.
And this room was where she physically packed up all the cheeses.
Ben pulls out his phone, and with it, a photograph of the lorry stacked high with his cheese.
I think it was 18 pallets that she packed up by hand, every cheese. So each one of those cheeses weighs 25 kilos.
It wasn't for a few days that anyone realizes. Something has gone wrong. Very wrong. The buyer who ordered this unprecedented amount of cheese, apparently, has no intention of paying for it. The invoice comes and goes. The cheese is gone, seemingly stolen.
Neal's Yard Dairy, a British retailer of artisan cheese, delivered 22 tons of cheddar after being approached by a person who claimed to be working for a wholesale distributor in France.
But a massive theft from these distributors in London has left them without much of an appetite.
But it turned out to be a scam.
Nearly £300,000 worth of cheese stolen from under their noses, orchestrated by fraudsters posing as French wholesalers.
I've got to say, it's an unbelievable story.
That's really terrible. I was going to say, it's in my cellar. I love cheese.
That's a bit cheesy. That's a bit cheesy.
French stealing British cheddar. You couldn't write a cheesier tale, right? It's a fromage to remember. Well, the story turns out to be a little bit more layered than that. I'm Marley Card, and this is Chasing Cheddar. Episode 1, A Lorry Full of Truckles. There are over 1,000 different languages spoken in this world. But food? Food is universal. It crosses borders, generations, and cultures. It tells stories without saying a word. And in Britain, cheese isn't just food. It's craft. It's pride. It's a connection between tradition and community, business and belief. Even if it isn't always recognized by the rest of the world, British cheddar is a symbol of patriotism.
Cheddar is very English. Cheese in my blood.
And that's why
It's quite ubiquitous with England.
when 22 tons of British cheddar disappeared, it was a really big deal.
That's bonkers. They make good cheese. Why are they doing that? Like, why bother? You were like cheese capital of the world. Why bother stealing other people's cheese?
In early July, I landed in London with 7 fellow American students. We're from the Institute for Education in International Media, and we came here to spend a summer reporting. For some of us, this was our first time in the United Kingdom, so we had a lot to learn. And as cheesy as it sounds, this heist taught us a ton about this country. We spent 4 weeks pulling apart this story, layer by layer, like the rind of a perfectly aged, cloth-bound cheddar. We quickly learned that, sure, it's a story about stolen cheese, but it's also a story about culture. It's about business, about loss, passion, and artistry. It's a story about the risks small businesses take to keep their traditions alive, the vulnerability that comes with trust, and the pride that people pour into their craft. We found that something as simple as a wheel of cheese can represent so much more about a community. We tag-teamed to report this story, so you'll hear from each of us, kind of like a cheese tasting meets relay race. Along the way, we hope you'll learn stuff and have a lot of fun too. We sure did. Because when it comes to a story this rich, it just doesn't get any cheddar than this. Once Neal's Yard Dairy figures out that this huge sale is actually a huge scam, they alert the authorities. Now, this is officially a crime story, right for the headlines. My colleague, Chloe Jarvis, takes it from here.
It isn't long before the heist gets picked up by the inherently snarky British press.
Now we're going to talk about some very expensive cheeses, quality cheeses, stolen cheeses. Yes, we are talking about the £300,000 cheese heist. I'm talking 22 tons of the stuff.
And then it goes international, too.
Meanwhile, elsewhere in the world,
detectives at Scotland Yard and international authorities are searching for the culprits.
Arresting a 63-year-old man cheesemongers say may have been carrying too much cheddar.
this is being called the biggest con hit in the cheese industry, and that is saying something because, fun fact, cheese is the most stolen food in the world.
Celebrities start weighing in.
There has been a great cheese robbery. Some of the best cheddar cheese in the world has been stolen, 22 tons worth.
On paper, everything had checked out for dairy farmers like Ben Ticehurst at Trethowan Brothers Dairy Farm. As Ben recalls, the distributor, Neal's Yard Dairy, called weeks earlier to say they had a big order to fill from a French wholesale buyer.
It's from one of our best customers, and they checked everything out, and we got asked really sensible questions. So we're like, yeah, this is great.
It's exciting. A Frenchman wants British cheese? That's cool. The British and French have always enjoyed a good rivalry.
Ah, England and France, history's greatest frenemies, as it were.
Sometimes it's friendly.
If you had 100 French people, 100 British, who'd win the fight?
We will win, you know, we win in football, we win in everything.
We like to fight a lot. Drunk British versus drunk French. Drunk British win every time.
Sometimes it's a little more sharp.
The two countries share access to the English Channel.
England and France are only 21 miles apart.
They have, however, contested almost everything else from land rights to linguistic primacy.
But let's be honest, when it comes to cheese, the French always seem to get the credit. The Brits get left out in the mold. Before our little group of Americans got here, we didn't even really know British cheddar was a thing. Ben says British cheesemakers have always felt underappreciated. And so, when this French buyer vanishes without paying for the British cheese, it really hurts. Actually, it stinks. But it isn't long before police make an arrest. A 63-year-old man on suspicion of conspiracy to defraud and handling stolen goods. I decided to head to the police station. Turns out, I didn't have to go very far. Our classroom space is on the same block as the iconic Metropolitan Police Station, where all the notorious British crime stories are investigated. The block is the backdrop for some of the highest profile stories that have ever happened in this town.
A report tonight that detectives from Scotland Yard came to the U.S. to question the actor.
Interviewed at a London police station last week.
According to a new report, Prince Charles was questioned.
Except that's not actually the station that handled this. The station is Southwark. So I go there with my colleague, Zoe, confident that we're about to come away with a bunch more detail about what happened. But guess what, Marley?
I'm guessing it's not as simple as you first thought.
That's right. And just like nicely matured cheddar, time would reveal a whole lot more. Chasing Cheddar is a production of Switchboard Magazine and IEI Media. It's hosted collaboratively by me, Cole Jarvis, along with Marley Card, Juliana Simon, Ian Curtis, Madeline Green, Lauren Blanton, and Jason Steinfeld. We all co-produced it alongside Lily Bartolucci and Zoe DeHaan. Our executive producers are Sarah Ganem and Celia Aniskovich. Music for this series comes from Epidemic Sound. Special thanks to the Pod Shop in London and IEI Media Program Director Eileen Prusher. Thanks for listening, and remember, life's better when it's a little cheesy.